Hey, what's going on YouTube? What's poppin', everybody? Everybody, what is good? East New York's finest, hosted by yours truly, Mike. This video is something different. Okay. So yeah, this is a different video, and I did, kind of moved a little bit of the figures, but for some reason it seems like they're still a little low. I don't know. I'm leaving like that. Whatever. But anyhow, um, I just want to give recognition where recognition is due. I like people like myself who do very selfless acts, and I think children are our future. I think children should and can lead the way, and I believe that they all have the beauty they possess inside. No, but nah, really, no pun intended. I do like this group. Very funny guys, very funny girls. It takes a lot of. I mean, it takes a lot of bravery and real heroism to do things. You see, you have police, vets, whether they're active, inactive, ex-vets, whatever. Who everybody always say things like, "Oh, that firefighter's a hero for what he or she did. That police officer's a hero for what he or she did. That doctor's a hero for saving this person's life." Let me explain something to you. When people do selfless things, that's real heroism. A hero is a person that's measured by the selfless acts that he or she do in everyday deeds, to do it for no other recognition but to do it because it's the right thing to do. And 9 out of 10 at times do it against their own safety. But when you are given a position to be a police officer, you know the how you say it, you know the risks of being a police officer, a firefighter, a military individual. Yeah, I mean, you are doing something for a greater good. Excuse me, but again, it is still your occupation. It's still a job that you have decided to do. So I don't consider them people being heroes. Some people may or may not agree with what I'm saying. I don't really care. Look at the definition. Now, this particular group, they're called Trilogy Media. I've been watching them for a while now. Of course, Art is one of my favorite dudes. I mean, you got so many people who are just funny. And there was just one episode. Let me see. Oh man, you guys gotta look this up. I'm giving this to the whole YouTube fam. I'm gonna start maybe doing more of this stuff. I think it's very funny, on how like they go after child predators and things of that nature. Now here you go and you look up Trilogy Media, and that's Trilogy space media, and that's Media, and that is a capital M and a capital T for Trilogy Media. I always subscribe to them. Like for instance, there's one that says Naked Man. Now, of course, naked is spelled with an N, and the A with the circle for for like the at, and then K, and then 3, like technically like a backwards E. So they put a 3, then D. You know what I mean? So that would be Naked Man confronted in shower trying to meet 13-year-old girl. Or you could just type in Naked Man confronted in shower from Trilogy Media. You guys look at this shit, is fucking hilarious. Now, it is I mean, you really don't want to make a joke out of such a bad predatorial, sick, sadistic society we live in. Now, I have my own, things on how I feel about, anybody, whether it's a school teacher or anybody, man or woman, who goes after children. Because sometimes I say cruel jokes like, damn, man, some of these women teachers be fine. They're like, damn, she messing with a fucking 14, 15-year-old girl. Sometimes I'm like, damn, man, where the hell was this woman at when I was going to school? Just because, at my age now, being a mature adult, you're like, fuck, like what? Like she throwing her life away, her freedom and everything for some young dude. I'm like, damn, and she fine. But in reality, how would I really feel about my son who just turned 15 just a little over a month, just almost 2 months ago? I would be fucking, I don't give a fuck how nice this woman look, how sexy how banging she is or whatever. I would probably want to fucking rip this bitch's fucking head off if she does something to my 15-year-old son. And that's a boy. It's like, I don't like people that hurt children. I don't give a flying fuck if it's their own parent or whoever. There's been plenty of times where I confronted niggas out in the street for screaming and pulling on their fucking kids. And I go right up, I don't give a fuck how tall, I go right up on them and I be ready to knock they fucking... One dude, I actually knocked this nigga straight out. This is on the corner of fucking Clarkson and Flatbush Avenue in Flatbush, Brooklyn. And this was probably 2000 and... Probably around 2000... Yeah, it had to be around 2000. This was before the World Trade Center. So... Probably around 1999 or 2000. At that time, Michelle was, you know, it had to be around late 2000, because, yeah, it was. Because at that time, my daughter Michelle, being the oldest, was just over a year and a half, almost 2 years, around 2 years old. Because I think Mikey, my oldest son, because I have 3 kids, so Mike Jr., he was probably about fucking 4 to 6 months old. And I was driving, and this is like, I was coming from Blockbuster Video, because that was the closest Blockbuster Video to me. Then there was one closer to my mother, which my mom lived on Nostrand too, but closer to Avenue W and stuff like that. So there's also a Blockbuster down that way too. Think more like Nostrand and Avenue X or Z or some shit like that. But the closest Blockbuster was to me, actually they both, yeah, was on... It was on, was that no? No, that was Flatbush. It was on Flatbush. I think Flatbush and Clarkson or something like that. But anyway, I was coming from there. I took some games back and I brought some movies. And I knew I was going to be home for the next 2 days, you know, dealing with my kids. And I got some kid movies, and my daughter loved Powerpuff Girls. So I remember this shit like it was fucking 15 minutes ago. And I know the dude it was a black brother. It was cold outside. People were just walking by looking at him. I had to pull over. I had at that time I was in my Honda Civic. I had a Honda Civic DX, a 4-door DX, and you know back then them cars were very popular, very sought after, and it was stick shift. And I hooked that car up fucking banging. It was like almost like a champagne, almost pinkish gold. And the interior was like a wine color, like the color of like a wine, like a rose type color. Beautiful fucking car, man. And this car was sick. I mean, I had some white. I mean, I know how to. Anybody will tell you, I know how to hook up cars. And I mean, my car was fucking beautiful. And but anyway, I pull over, I get out, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you know, the kids are crying. It was just crazy. But anyhow, I went up in this nigga face and I was like, yo, and he just thought that I was trying to intimidate him, and I knocked this motherfucker like cold turkey out, like straight like La La Land out in front of his kids. Now I did feel bad that I did that in front of his kids, because now his kids are crying and he's unconscious, but it is what the fuck it is. I'm pretty sure now, looking back at it, he probably remembers that, and maybe he became a better father. Who the fuck knows? But I did get in my I at that time, it was more about my ego and the fact that me being a father than even really doing something for the kids. And that was my bad. And I felt great about what I did, but I felt bad at the fucking fact that these kids, well, I actually helped put these kids in danger. And that always weighed a lot on me more than anything. And to this day, it still kind of gets under my skin that I did that. But I'm glad I did it, but I shouldn't have done it. I should have went about it a different way. But when he... You know, kind of like he was pulling his kids and they were crying, and then when he kind of like let his kids' hands go and he jolted to me, he just leaned right into me and back then I was extremely muscular, and you know that, you know what I'm saying, that right, that, you know, it was like a right stiff mung, and he was so close to me, so when he jolted forward, that was it. He just went fucking cold turkey right out. But and people were like, oh shit, and I got in my car and I left. And I didn't do it like real, like I gotta get. I just like more like, whatever. I didn't even look at his kids. I just looked at him, and I remember just, you know, it was like tunnel vision. And I remember my Honda Civic, and I remember getting in it, and I remember pulling off, and that was it. And people were just looking at me as there weren't phones out there at that time. I wish there was, but anyhow, I know that there's FBI and there's police and there's state, city officials who know about missing and exploited men, women, and children. Homeless people are being missing, and people's bodies and organs are being harvested for all types of shit. I personally believe that government officials and others not only know about what's going on, but I think they have a lot to do. I don't know what's going on with this lizard. But I personally think they all have a lot to do with missing and exploited other human beings. And I think a lot of bored people from like Dubai and higher ups who have tons of money, to us, having a banging ass car and a sick ass penthouse with millions of women and everybody around you is like, holy shit. It's like, think about it. How many times, you come across a toy that you want, you love it, and you finally got it in your collection. Soon as you fucking put that shit in your collection, your void, your void is no longer full. When you first get it home, you're excited. You're like, yeah, and then as soon as you put it down, you got an empty void again. Now it's to the next one and the next one. Then sooner or later, you don't get satisfied no more. You're happy at the thrill of the hunt, but then as soon as you get it home, you put it away. Okay, it's like, all right, next, now what? And that's the same way they feel. So sometimes to do crazy, freakish shit and do sick, taboo nonsense is the only void they have, because they already have everything else in life. So what better way than to celebrate getting to the next best thing, than to sit there and do some sick shit with another human being, whether it's a minor or not. And I personally believe that there are a lot of officials and FBI agents and cops. And this is fucking not just me statistically spinning and saying this, but it is a fucking is a scientific fact. You know what I'm saying? And that a lot of FBI agents and local police and law enforcement that have been locked up, arrested and stuff for the same things I'm talking about. Now, I think, and I think it's my job as a YouTuber. So, like the difference between my channel and a lot of other people's channels is a lot of people don't want to be reminded of just how sick, sadistic, and evil the world is. I like to be reminded on how sick, sadistic the world is, because it not only does it keep me on my toes, but it keeps me and teaches me to teach my children to know better and to always have their eyes open. So when and if they have children and for themselves. My daughter just came here this morning. I'm looking all around the house for the dog, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know Isaiah went to school, my wife's not home, and I'm looking, and I don't know if my son came home from work or not, because he works overnight in the city. And I'm like, okay. So the only thing came to my mind, I didn't call nobody. I said, oh, well, Michelle did say she was coming by yesterday. So I figured, oh, maybe she came by this morning because the dog wasn't in the house. And, Spike's not going to just let anybody touch or take him. That's for sure. All I can say is he's a blue-nosed pit bull. Enough said. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, well, maybe Michelle walked him. So I'm over here doing some stuff, and she comes upstairs, and she noticed. I noticed her way before she noticed me, because I was in the other room. I heard footsteps, and I didn't hear the dog growling or anything. So I'm like, well, I know it's not my wife, because I can tell the different weight, and I know how my wife stomps. I know how everybody in my house walk up and down stairs. I know how Isaiah walks up and down the stairs. I know how Mikey walks up and down the stairs. I know how my wife walks up and down the stairs. Even though Michelle comes here every couple of months or whenever, because she lives in Harlem and she got her own life. You know what I'm saying? She's a great kid, college grad, doing her thing, working, living on her own. I wish I could say the same thing about my fucking son, Mike Jr. I hope he get there one day. But, he's still a good kid doing the right thing. He works, got 2 jobs, got 2 cars, paying his Tesla off and doing his shit. We don't ask him for money or anything. We want them to save and be independent and whatnot. And, and I'm like, okay. And so she comes and, she gives me a hug and we talking, because this girl's always working. She's doing a lot of photo stuff for fashion. My daughter's into her shit. This girl puts pro antra in newer, or whatever way you want to say it. Very proud of her. So she came by to pick up some items and stuff of that nature. We spoke for a little while, and it's like I always tell her, my wife, listen, when you're walking to and or from the train station, don't have your headphones in your ears. And I always tell, I always teach them that, and I always tell them, listen, when you are coming home late at night anywhere, always walk in the street. walk as close to light as possible, and we'll always walk in the street, because it's harder for somebody to try to drag you in the car when you're in the middle of the street than when you're on the sidewalk. It's harder for somebody to try to prey on you, rob you, and or God forbid rape you or anything of that nature when you're on the sidewalk versus the streets. And I always teach and tell them that. And, you know, knock on wood, so far my family's been safe. I tell Isaiah, even if there's a police officer in uniform, whether he's in a marked or unmarked car, you do not speak to him. You get right on the phone, and the first person you call is me, because I'm closest to you, and my phone is always at my hand. So I'm always the first one to call. Not your brother, not your mother, not your sister, because they may not pick up. Seconds save lives. Millimeters of seconds save lives. People don't understand that. I always taught and teach him this, and I told him, when somebody's talking to you from a vehicle, even if it's the police, you stay as far away from them as fucking possible. Because it takes everybody about 10 to 15 seconds to stop a vehicle and get out. And by the time they approach you, you're already like between 11 to 15 seconds in. A lot can happen, and you could do a lot of things within those couple of seconds. Now, there's a police officer in uniform. People will record a lot quicker than they'll intervene and try to pull you from that police officer. But if you get on the phone with me, I have more, you know what I'm saying? Because you got people that do impersonate police officers too. And they can have you think you're going to a precinct for anything, and then all of a sudden you're in the back of a car, you know, on an airplane somewhere, you know, being taken. And next thing you know, you're being gang raped by a whole bunch of Middle Eastern sociopaths or somebody. Or somebody's harvesting your organs and dumping you, you know what I'm saying, in a fucking high school gymnasium wrapped up in a fucking mat. You know, you never know. I tell people all the time, yo, you could be my age, you know what I'm saying, my able body, and somebody could still come up to you and kidnap you and you don't know, man. This is why I always tell people, yo, on YouTube you will never see me sitting here bragging about my food or how or I don't have a set schedule on how I do anything. I do that because you got people out there that will sit there and look at all this shit, study everything about you, and the next thing you know, they know your habits. You know, you in your house, you fucking, you know, you're the only person at home at a certain time of day or a certain day of the week, and you get queasy. You're like, what the fuck is going on? You're dizzy now, you feel nauseous, and next thing you know, you wake up, you're fucking gagged, and you know, you could be in your own house being raped, even at my age, and killed. And somebody, you know, cutting your organs out and walking out your house. Next thing you know, somebody, my son or somebody find me in a house all butchered the fuck up. Cops come here. Nobody knows nothing. You know what I'm saying? The dog's going to be on the floor fucking laying there dead. I'm going to be there all butchered up. And it's like, okay, well, next case. And it goes to the next person. This is why I tell people, yo, stop. You know, people know, nobody knows my address. People may know where or what city I live in. People know my house as far as like what I have in it, yes, but you will never, I never disclose a lot of personal, for strategic reasons. I never fucking sit there and talk about schedule, what and where I do, when I do it, how I do it. I don't talk about my favorite drinks, what I like to eat. I don't do any of that. Why? Because it makes it a lot more harder for your adversary to sit there and nitpick, you know what I'm saying, what information they can gather from you and or your family to be able to infiltrate you. You know what I'm saying? So I teach my kid, and at first my kids used to always think I was a weirdo growing up, but now Mike Jr. understands it, and Michelle, and her being a beautiful, you know, thick young female out there in the world and in New York at that, along with my wife, they know the kind of person I am. And Isaiah, you know, he's very friendly, but at the same time he knows better. But all it takes is one thing. So when you teach your family to sit there and say, listen, even if a person wears a uniform, that don't mean shit. You got infiltrators who are, you know, employed by law enforcement who do this shit on the side. Listen, you got drug dealers and creeps in any fashion on earth, regardless on fucking race, creed, religion, sexual preference, fucking occupation. Creeps, weirdos, corrupt, thieving, motherfucking bad people of all, any and everything on this earth. You know what I'm saying? So I teach them to second guess everything, especially if somebody in law enforcement comes up to you. Why are they coming up to you? You never do nothing, or you don't know shit about anything anyway, and you know that. So don't second guess yourself when you know. And you know, sometimes we second guess ourselves with with rationalization on, well, why this and that? Well, let me find out. Let me see. No, 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 no. That makes no sense. Once you already have something in your head, like, yo, this ain't right, don't ever second guess that. That is a fucking personal, instinctive fucking alarm going off in your head. Never second guess that. Second guess everything else but that. And the reason why I'm saying all this from what I'm saying it is because you guys and girls out there really need to start paying recognition to real heroes. And I believe my peoples over in Trilogy Media are close to it. And these people, you know, they spend money and hours on cameras. They got this big white security guy that has a gun on him to keep everybody safe. But you know, when the decoy is dealing with that person right on the bat, you're safe, but you're not safe. You're not safe, but you're safe. Because if that person want to quickly grope or grab or do something violent to you, by the time these other individuals react, it can be between life and death. So everybody put themselves, somebody can have a gun on them and just start going crazy and retaliate against everybody in that room, including the security guy who, you know, because, you know, you're not always on point. You can't look at a person's size and think just because a whole bunch of y'all in a room and you confront somebody, that will deter a person. Some people are so fucking sick that they will sit there and try to hurt, kill, or last shot on any and everybody closest to them in that fucking specific you know, vicinity. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. So I highly suggest you people out there, every once in a while, you got to put this kiddish bullshit aside and just look at what's going on in the world. Look at what's going on in society. Yeah, this stuff is great. It keeps my sanity. It keeps me sane. And it keeps me comfortable when I'm in my home. And knowing that everything I've done in my life, this is the fruits of my labor. This is my alcohol. This is my man cave, my time, my fucking fortress of solitude, my sanctuary, excuse me, well, whatever you want to call it. This is what makes my day. This is what gets me by. This is what makes me go out, keep from going out there and being Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. You know what I'm saying? This is what keeps me from, and why I don't do drugs or anything. This is my shit. This is my bubble. This is what I like. I meant to say my bubble. This is what I like. You know what I'm saying? This is how I escape reality and everyday psychotic shit. But at the same time, you still got to click your heels and come back to Kansas, you know, regardless. And I always try to do that. I've always come up here on YouTube, whether people like me or not, and always try to spit all types of different analogies to people and put a lot of shit out there in people's heads. Sometimes people just want to, I don't give a fuck about that shit. You need to. Because if not for yourself, what about others? Because, you know, a lot of you guys out there think because you black, you big, or you carry a gun, or you know how to fight and take care of yourself, you think you're fucking entitled to be invincible from kidnappings and murder and all types of shit. See, I'm a nigga from the fucking hood. I'm a nigga from East New York, fucking Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So, the only entitlement I have is to be entitled to be knowledgeable, to know what the fuck is going on around me. That's the only entitlement I have. The fact that I know how to fight, I know how to protect myself. I'm entitled to sit back and know, you know, certain signs. And I'm always looking. Everywhere I go, I look around. I'm like a fucking pigeon. I'm always doing this. And if I do have headphones or something on, I'm looking here, and then I'm always looking down. I'm always using my peripherals around me, and then I'm always looking at the ground, at the shadow. Because, you know what I'm saying? A shadow creeps up before an action. So if you see a shadow, right? Like right now I'm looking at a shadow on my keyboard. That shadow, because you remember, sound and light travels faster than your vision. You know, of course that, you know, obviously we all know light and everything travels faster than sound and blah, 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 blah. But your eyes, you know what I'm saying, it's not like, our eyes are more like a fucking camera. It's more like a projectory. You see from light. You know what I'm saying? Light is what sees. So too much light can blind you and cause your eyes to be irregular. Too little gives you too much darkness, but it leaves you confusion, but it don't set or fuck your eyes up as bad as straight light or white. You ever notice how, like, if it's really bright outside and you got a blizzard around you, or what they call a whiteout, you see how your whole body acts differently toward that too much bright vision versus too much dark. When you're dealing with dark, you're a lot more in tune to be more focused than you are to be unstable and unbalanced when it's too much light. So your eyes reflect off of light. you know what I'm saying, light and colors and everything is what gives you your vision and whatnot. You know what I mean? So I learned how to use that shit to my advantage. It's not only just, you know what I'm saying, knowing military shit and this, that, and the third. It's just the fucking simple fact that you know, growing up where I grew up, I had a lot of intellectual individuals that taught me a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot more stuff just being a dude off the streets, learning from convicted family members and just everyday life growing up in East New York than I ever did in any fucking thing else in my adult life that I've done and trained under and with. I learned a lot from that and every day, and you know, just in general and to me all that shit was just, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just crazy. But you know, I just want to do a different, I mean, a video different from the norm. You know, I just wanted to, you know, just come out here and say, hey, listen. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, you guys need to be up and on, because you never know. Fernando could be your next door neighbor. It could be your cousin. It could be your wife, or, you know what I'm saying, your cousin's baby father. You know what I mean? I mean, you wouldn't want this motherfucker babysitting. I mean, you know, having your child or children come over and be babysitted because he has no ties to them. So what's to stop them? What's to stop him from touching them and doing things to them? You know, you never know. You can't be arrogant, man. You got to sit back and realize that creeps are creeps regardless on what they are. No matter what occupation, what race, what sex, a fucking freak's a freak. You know, you have good and bad humans and everything. You got good humans that went to prison. You have bad humans that went to prison. You have cops that got caught up in shit who were good cops. They made a bad choice or something fucked over. They got fucked over by the system somehow with politics. And they became good cops that turned bad or became convicts, and vice versa. So, you know, you can never sit back. You gotta, you know, you can never sit back and know what's what. You know what I mean? So I highly suggest you guys watch. And if to me, one of the best entertaining videos. And the video, let me put it this way. I must have watched like 30 or 40 different episodes with them. This is one of the most satisfying videos or episodes that they have. And that again is Naked Man Confronted in Shower. Trying to meet 13-year-old girl. Or just, like I said, just go to Trilogy Media, look at some of their videos, and just, you know, subscribe them. They definitely deserve everybody's subscriptions because these people put themselves on a line. I mean, you know, this is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the things they do to try to help inform people and to help protect our kids. It's like they doing the jobs that we should be fucking out there doing. So don't sit here and just keep on watching stupid ass videos on people scalping and other, you know, weirdos running around going to fucking toy stores and alleys trying to pick up toys. Like, every once in a while, stop being entitled and thinking of yourself and think of your family and think of the fucking people around you. Stop just always thinking about yourself. One thing about me, y'all may or may not like and or agree with, is the fact that I've always been one of the motherfuckers that always came up here and always spilled and verbally spoke all types of different shit on my channel. I done sat here years ago and try to show you guys what you need if there's ever a fucking war, how you can purify your own water, what you need for this. I have shit like that down in the basement. I mean, you know, I've always been a guy that's always been ready for fucking all types of wars and shit. Because let me tell you something. Hot toys, G.I. Joe, sideshow statues, none of this shit's going to protect you if shit hit the fan. What if fucking tomorrow, you know, today turns into like what's going on, not only, you know, like what's going on in, between Palestine and or Hamas, excuse me, and Israel. Anything can happen. You know, our borders and shit, we're not safe. We're fucked because a lot of countries for centuries hates the U.S. But what always kept us up and kept people kissing this country's ass is the motherfucking power, the big P, the president's behind the power, along with strong military personnel. But right now, we going through shit where everybody's too busy fighting off and defending themselves and rationalizing with fucking Karens. Everybody's too busy rationalizing and trying to fucking, figure out who's entitled to sit there and think that they should be called Beth because they were birthed Brian and they want to cut their phalluses off, or because, you know, hey, I feel like I'm a female, well, fuck all that sick, selfish entitlement shit. You know, you got a war going on in the country already between race, sex, and all this other sick, sadistic shit. And every spoiled motherfucker thinking they're entitled to dumb, idiotic, makes no sense shit. And then you got wars going on in other countries where motherfuckers are, you know, people are trying to sit there and entrap the U.S. into doing shit against treaties so they can try to fucking, you know, say, hey, now we have a reason to sit here and attack the fucking U.S. because, hey, you guys should have stayed the fuck out of this. How you gonna sit here and try to help other people, give trillions of dollars to other people in aid when you got motherfuckers in this country right now trying to fight for shit? They sitting here sending a whole bunch of illegals over here. Y'all giving these motherfuckers, they don't have to go. They don't have to take a fucking driver's test. What the fuck is going on in this country? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Not only are you guys involved in allowing all this shit, they trying to sit here and say that, hey, they trying to make sexual predator shit legal. You know, they're trying to make all this shit legal. So it's okay to sit there and drive illegally and shit like that. But then you want to sit here and you don't want to lock them up because it's too much paperwork and they're only gonna go free. But if I'm a citizen and somebody get in my face and I defend myself and I knock them the fuck out or knock a tooth out, now you want to put me in jail and lock me up. Like, what the fuck is this country going to? So in other words, you have rights in this country as long as you come here as a fucking illegal immigrant. So you mean to tell me if my kids that were born here, went to school here, did everything legitimately here, you want to have them go through all this fire and brimstone to be able to get a fucking permit to get a driver's license, but somebody named or somebody's Theo, or some dude named Carlos and Santos and Maria and Guadalupe can fucking come here illegally, and you say, here you go, here's your license. Then you want to give them money and put them in hotels and motels for fucking free when you got all types of women and children and families out there that got displaced from fucking fires, water damage, or whatever fucked up system this shitty ass government had. Yo, we need to go to war against the FBI and the fucking feds. Yo, y'all need to start realizing your true enemies is the fucking feds and the fucking system. The system itself. Those are your true enemies. The people that allow drugs to keep coming here and fucking up your family. Your Uncle Byron and your Aunt Teresa are fucking drug addicts and now have HIV and shit because the system allows it. The system allowed COVID. The system allowed your fucking aunt and them to have fucking, you know what I'm saying, to be brought up on this shit, and to have your fucking family, your cousins grow up to be fucked up because the system wants that. The system needs that. Y'all might say, yo, that makes no sense. It makes just as much sense as you sit back and realize, like, fucking 10, 15 years ago, Norton and all these other companies was sitting here and they had viruses that they were charging you $12 and $14.99, even $9.99, and it will hold up. It will allow you to fix up to 8 computers, which means you can give it to your grandmother, your aunt, your cousin, and your sister, and everybody can put like 8 or 9 different systems, put that Norton virus protection on it. But they figure now they charging almost to over $100 for it, and it only does, like, maybe if you're lucky, a video game system. If you're lucky, maybe 1 or 2 handheld phones and a computer now. Why? Because they pay people to fucking hack and create these viruses and programs. Because think about it. How can these companies keep making money and charge you an arm and a leg for these fucking virus protections if they're not the ones out there paying fucking people to create the viruses in the fucking first place? How can I sit here and go to a country club and have my kids go to Ivy League schools if we don't have enough people out here to pay them to create this shit? It's a revolving door. They want this shit for the same reason why they want drugs. You know, there would not be no drug enforcement agent or agency. You know, if they didn't allow ghost guns and people to sell guns, you think a lot of these legit gun companies and gun stores make a lot of money off of law enforcement guys? Do you see what police make? FBI agents? You know, FBI agents make almost, if not even less than fucking regular police. And they work for the feds. They work for the federal government, so they're even cheaper. They don't give out or give that much overtime and pay good on overtime like local law do. That's why, you know, you got more cops that live in better, bigger houses and wear better suits and better clothing than FBI. You know, FBI, the feds go by what's called pay grade. You know what I'm saying? That's what they go on, your pay grade. You know, everything's about a G11 or G9 or G. You know, anybody who knows what I'm talking about knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. If you don't, go out there and find it. I can't sit there and disclose everything to you. But yo, like, y'all need to sit back and realize that, yo, the biggest communists and dictators, you know, like dictatorship works. It works is right there in your fucking face. The media, not Trilogy Media, but the real media, or fake news, along with your local law and government, are the true fucking bandits. They're the true criminals and shit. Has it ever occurred to you why so much of your taxes get taken out off of each and every fucking check you get? But then y'all all sit back and you're happy when you get your tax return. Why are you so happy when they still giving you fucking 32 to 33% back? So you mean to tell me out of my check you take, let's say you get paid $750. By the end of it, you probably go home with like $520. So you count that shit by 2 to 4 times a month for 12 fucking months straight. All them taxes they take out. Then you still gotta pay taxes on your house. You gotta pay taxes on your electricity bill. All your bills, you gotta pay taxes on that too. On everything. Then you gotta turn around and pay taxes on the DEP for water every time you fucking flush. You gotta pay taxes on your taxes. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay taxes for your mortgage. You gotta fucking pay taxes for your food, for your clothes, for your cell phone, for every fucking thing in life. Hell, you gotta pay taxes on your own fucking death. On funeral, you gotta pay taxes. You know, you gotta pay taxes on hospital bills, on everything. On a bottled water, everything in life. So you mean to tell me if you calculate that in 1 year, even if you get back, let's say, fucking $4,000 from the feds and $975 from the state. That shit does not add up nowhere near what you lost just in what you take out in taxes. Then they make you happy that you're getting a tax return. This is how mind-blowingly fucked up and brainwashed we are as imbeciles. I ain't gonna say we, because I don't fit in that category because I'm woke. And I don't mean woke in that fucking gay, sick, sadistic, fucking entitlement shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about woke as far as being a woke motherfucker that knows how the world works and what's going on. Do you really think that this government and the people behind it really want to stop drugs? They've been trying to depopulate this planet for a long fucking time. And they figured COVID was a better way to do it and legally get away with it. And it worked to a certain extent. But the second wave of what they're going to try to do is going to be even worse. Whether they do it through biohazard or just straight up fucking human trial and error with chemicals and straight up war and famine. You never fucking know. But you know, the more they try to pass this shit and get away, the more they try to pass this shit, the more they get away with it. And y'all just too gullible, lazy, and entitled to sit back and think nothing else. Like, imagine, like, why would these people be able to afford their lifestyle if they work for the drug enforcement agency and they get rid of all the drugs all around the fucking world, including Central and South fucking America? These people wouldn't have any jobs. There would not be no need for a DEA agent or border patrols. There would not be a need for ATF if guns weren't sold illegally all around the world. They want these motherfuckers to kill each other, and the biggest, baddest motherfucker out there are the ones that are protected by the DEAs and these crooked motherfuckers anyway. 99% of all these federal governments and agents are corrupt individuals with a higher anarchy for fucking mayhem, because they have elites and masters that teach and tell them what to do and how to do this and that. It's all in the fucking book. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, cops are not heroes. Military personnel are not heroes. They're doing a just do, but they're not heroes because they're fucking paid to do exactly what they're paid to do. If you're a soldier, you take an oath to protect any and everybody against foreign and domestic. You understand? That's an oath you take. You take an oath when you become a fucking police officer. You take an oath when you become a doctor. Or it's called the Hippocratical Oath, which is nowadays is more like the hypocritical oath because most of them are fucking hypocrites and hide behind bullshit anyway. But that's a whole different story. Everything you do in life that you have, you know, you know what I'm saying? Even a doctor who saves your life, he or she's not a hero. That's their fucking job. Just like you got people who work in subways. Are they heroes because they feeding your hunger? Because, you know what I'm saying, hey, you're paying for a sandwich, I'm giving you a sandwich, so you're paying for services, and I'm giving you services that are part of my job description. So does that make them a hunger hero? No. It's a motherfucker that's doing their job. So why sit there and think that a police officer, ambulance employee, or someone who works for the ambulance office or medical field or whatever, these are people that is part of their occupation. It's your job. It's your job to secure. You got security guards that do a lot of work. They're not heroes because that's their job. Their job entitlement. This is what their job describes. If you're a track worker or you're a train operator, or you're a hero because everybody gets to work on time. Due to a rush hour or a trip or whatever. No, that's your job. But these people are heroes because they are going out their way to fund out of their own pockets to do good, to not only keep people aware, but to help deter these sick-minded fucking freak of fucking predators. I think the only thing predators can do, if you really want to make the world better, this government needs to start killing off these motherfuckers. These sexual predators need to be killed. They should not be, fucking stop trying to help these motherfuckers, man. Put these motherfuckers in the ground where they belong. You know what I'm saying? You got a mental problem. You know what? You know what's the best thing for a mental problem, for a person with mental issues in their head? A fucking nice piece of lead to help go through it and to help as it's going through and penetrating. Just like you're trying to penetrate little innocent people, they should have some projectile that could fucking penetrate in your head as other parts of flesh is fucking being expelled out of another end of your fucking head. That's how you stop it. Like a lot of other countries, when people steal and do shit, they cut their fucking hands off. When you do certain sick, sadistic shit, these motherfuckers kill you. Y'all can say, oh, that's uncivilized. How's that uncivilized? So people like Biden, you consider him civilized. People like Candace Owens, y'all consider her uncivilized. Ben Shapiro, y'all say he's uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump, y'all say he's uncivilized. So what is the difference between your version of a civilized and uncivilized society? You know what I'm saying? Like, people like Biden is uncivilized. People like Trump, to me, is civilized. But to each his own. But at the end of the day, nobody can sit here and argue and say there's nothing civilized about people preying on other fucking people, whether they're children or grown fucking adults. Everybody's innocent if they truly have. If a grown man like me walk down the street, you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, fuck it. Oh, well, they killed him. So what? He's a grown man. He should have protected himself." So if I walk down the street and somebody just walk up to me because they get initiated in the gang and they blow my fucking brains on the sidewalk, so what? I deserve that because I'm a grown ass man. So what's the difference between that happening to me and a kid getting mad at another kid at a basketball game and shot him dead because he's 11 years old? Why? What's the difference? Why? Because he's a child and he didn't experience life? No, life is life regardless of what the fuck it is. Either way you look at it, wrong is wrong and right is right. So there is no rationalization there. For the same reason why you got a lot of these sick, sadistic, crazy ass white kids that go on killing sprees, killing people just to do it, and then the media and their lawyer wants to sit there and tell me how he was raped by his father and how his mom smacked him too many times in the head, and now he just got fed up with life because kids bullied him. And hey, that gives the initiative for him to do what he do. If that's the case, then that should give everybody initiative for these young kids to go out there killing each other over a street corner because hey, they gotta support their pregnant mom. They gotta support their family because the system is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's bullshit. So, again, y'all, I know my delivery isn't that great, but hey, it is what it is, man. I personally think that, you guys should sit there and pay more homage. And, it's funny how everybody always want to respect and watch other people's videos with this senseless shit. But then you guys don't want to go out there, whether you have kids, nieces, aunts, uncles, or even your own self. Why wouldn't you want to protect others and spread the wealth of a whole YouTube community on praising people that deserve to be praised? Even you got these police watchers and shit. There's a lot of people out there that deserve to be not only praised but spoken about every once in a while up here on YouTube. It's not about promoting them. It's about promoting integrity for everybody. Everybody should be able to feel safe and be safe on this earth, not just in the U.S. but all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think no child, man or woman, deserves to be taken against their will innocently and wrongfully just because somebody want to harvest their organs or use them for sexual amusement, regardless on age, color, creed, or sexual orientation. You know what I'm saying? I think it's sick and sadistic. And you know, again, I got mad props and everything to Trilogy Media and they crew. I like everybody, but my favorite motherfucker is my man Art. You know, he's a tall European dude, funny as hell. And this episode is funny. I'm gonna say it again. It is spelled naked with a capital N and the same A that you would use if you're typing in your somebody's email account or basically the number 2 key. So it'll be, you know, it'll be capital N, that number 2 key, which is the circled A or the at button, and then it'll be a capital K as in kilo, and then it'll be the number 3 as a backwards E, and then it'll be a capital D space, capital M, capital A, capital N. So that would be capital M for man, capital A for Apple, and capital N for Nancy, space, confronted, spell out confronted, all capital letters, capital N, and capital shower. Or you could just type it in. Now, at the end of the day, if you type in Trilogy Media, then type in naked man confronted in shower, trying to meet 13-year-old girl, that one is so funny. My man Fernando was sitting there. Yo, it was hilarious. He was very nervous from the gate in the text. He was very nervous all the way up to meeting her in the Airbnb. He was very nervous and kept talking about her age and how he can get in trouble and all this. But then he was still comfortable, very, very careful, but comfortable when he got in the shower. And when he came out, and when he came out of the shower naked, it's priceless. Like how they talked about his penis and that, yo. I think he deserved every bit of it. The only way that episode could have ended better if he took out a knife and stuck it in his own jugular to help do the world a favor. That could have been the best thing. But out of a lot of their episodes, this episode got to me the most because what if she really was 13, like the girl said, who was actually 24? And this is a grown-ass woman that had people in the house that would have protected her to a certain instinct. The reason why I say that is because if he decided to just come out with a knife or a gun and shoot her, and anybody else that ran toward him before he ran out of ammo or got shot himself or just ran, it could have still ended badly for her and everybody because the decoy always puts himself at a higher risk than anybody because that's the person that's real easiest to be harmed or worse by that predator at that specific moment. So the way they was going in on this guy, he deserved every bit of it. Some people, I ain't feel sorry for him, and they're right. You gotta feel sorry for whether he's married or whatever and his children because he's such a fucking embarrassment. But the fact that they actually got him nude on camera, said his name, and you see his face, that's beyond priceless. And the fact that he had to get dressed in front of everybody, including police, and the police actually took him out in cuffs, that was satisfying, but nothing would have been more satisfying than witnessing this fucking man committing suicide in front of everybody because of his shame. People like this is what they deserve. To either be so shameful where they see no other alternative but to take their own life, and or to just be put down. Like a rabid fucking dog that bit off half a child's face. That's what people like that deserve. They don't deserve to be rehabilitated. Stop rehabilitating sick-minded motherfuckers. Because all you do is make them better or to become better. For the same reason why I don't understand this whole 48 out, like the last 48 or the first 48 and all this other shit. All these cops and everybody, all you do, anybody that has half a brain, you make them a better criminal. You make them a better murderer, a better liar. You preparing people to go out there and become better at what they do. And this, for the same, I ain't even say what I was gonna say. It's just fucking stupid. But anyhow, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys please like, sub, and share. And I hope a lot of people out there go out there and just start looking at videos like this and so many other videos with Cop Watch and all these other people that are going out there, and they're not doing this to embarrass cops and say hey, cops are evil. They go out this to spread acknowledgement so you guys know your rights. You know your difference between your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh amendments. Become better oriented on how you can speak at police verbally and more articulately than just sitting there and having a shouting contest, because you're not going to win. You're not going to win a verbal conversation with a police officer or cops, plurals, regardless of how much you stand your ground. They'll sit here and blow your ass away, and yeah, some of them may or may not get fired, but you're still dead, and they're still alive. So the best way is to be articulate. You can be angry and mad and frustrated, but you have to be articulate enough to put them in the same way they use the right method. Remember what I just said, the right, not with an R, but with a W. There's a right method to how police talk to you in a confirmation. In an interrogation room. It is a right law. It is a right that they use, and I keep saying use the word W. Not right, excuse me, writ, right. There's the writ method they go by. Look that up and you guys can understand. This is why I tell people, man, don't talk to police. There's nothing that's beneficial to you, to you talking to them. If you just don't. Unless you're a witness in an accident or something like that, even then, you want to kind of be on the back burner a little bit, because that can cause you your life and shit too. You know what I mean? Because you gotta be very careful, because I'm gonna tell you something. Law enforcement is not your friend. Regardless of what you think, what oath they took, they're out here to protect and serve the rich and property. Not to sit here and protect and serve the community. The community they go by is the property, the rich and the powerful in that community, not the everyday average individual. If that was the case, these guys in Trilogy Media would not have to go through a whole bunch of fire and brimstone to go through certain laws that are there to protect and strategically put in place to help keep predators on the streets. Because, a lot of predators understand and know how to go around this shit. And the law makes it very distinctively, easy for them. If that was the case, if they made things a lot more stricter, to where people can to execute these sick-minded bastards around the spot, you wouldn't have predators out there doing this shit. There'll be in other countries doing it. Then those countries do it. They wouldn't have nowhere to do the shit that they do. The best way to deter and detect is a nip it in the bud. You don't just sit there and have a fucking, have TNT on one side of the street and then say, fuck it, I'm just gonna wet the fucking not the hose. What's the rope? I'm not gonna wet the rope. That's gonna stop. Hey, I'm gonna wet it so that way it won't ignite. It's gonna dry, and if it dries, somebody can still ignite it anyway. So whatever it still gets ignited and it blows up and takes half the fucking people or something with it. Why? Because you were too lazy to think about your job. But you're sad that kids got hurt and blown up with it, and you're even more sadder that officers got hurt trying to put it out, when in reality you should have nipped it in the bud and just fucking cut off the rope and took the TNT away from the gate. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do things. That's how you deter and stop motherfuckers from doing sick shit. Is you take their asses out. You know what I'm saying? You make them you make them a tenant of the morgue. That's simple. Anyway, peace.